What in the hell is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you all for tuning in. As always, really appreciate each and every one of you. I know I say it all the time, but I really do mean it. But enough about all that. I think right about now is the time where another YouTuber would digress. But for today's video, we're going to do a preview for round 11 of AMA Supercross and the Super Motocross World Championship in Detroit this weekend. And on the docket for today's topics, we're going to talk about the possibility of Chase Sexton returning to racing this weekend. And how do we not know yet? Then we'll get into the 250 East Championship that appears to be down to a 3-horse race, and one that I would bet will go down to the wire at the finale. Then we have to revisit the unfortunate topic that is the ever-growing injury list. We'll talk a little bit about Hunta versus Tomac for the 450 Championship and the likelihood of some possible team tactics being used down the stretch. And last but not least, of course, we got the track preview, the track breakdown for one of the best and most technical tracks of the year, as well as my predictions for what I think is going down this weekend. But you guys know the deal. Before we get into all that stuff, got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to my channel sponsors. They make it possible for me to go to all the places and all the races that I go to bring you guys all the content that I do. So please, y'all, do me a favor and go check them out. Huge thank you to ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever, Sirius Studio, who can take care of all your merch needs, and the DesignLabCo.com. They got some great designs in their lab at their co, and if you need graphics, look no further than there. I have links and discount codes in my video description, and if you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep us going. So if you're supporting them, you are literally supporting me. And also, I'm doing the TV announcing for the GT Arena Cross Series on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2 with Daniel Blair. Here's the airing schedule. Would really appreciate it if you guys would tune in. Not only will entertainment be guaranteed in your contract, but it'll also help me keep my job. But thank you guys again for watching. Hope you enjoy today's video. The channel sponsors are legends. Huge thank you to each and every one of them. I really couldn't do it without them all. But first topic for today, Chase Sexton returning to racing this weekend in Detroit. Or is he? I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon, and we've still yet to get confirmation as to whether or not we're going to get to see Chase back in action this weekend. A lot of speculation from prominent media members have it looking pretty likely that he's going to be back in Detroit, but honestly, how do we not have a PR or any confirmation yet from something official? Maybe I shouldn't be so hard on those involved in this. For all I know, he might actually not even know if he's racing yet, and it could very likely be a day-to-day game-time decision national, but I do know all the fans are dying to know when and where we're going to get to see him back racing. And what do you know? Of course, I just checked again, and I just saw an Instagram story from Chase that would indicate that he's racing this weekend. He says he's going to be headed to Motor City, and I don't know if you guys know this, but that's what Detroit's called, so looks like we're going to see him there, but still, the lack of clarity and disclosure is pretty much the whole reason why the conspiracy theories have arisen, like Chase not even being hurt and simply not racing because he's unhappy with his Kawasaki. I don't think that's the case at all, but speaking of the Kawasaki, they've taken some serious steps to get Chase to a better spot while he's been out. They hired Kyle Chisholm to do some East Coast testing. It sounds like they've pretty much thrown the kitchen sink, pots, pans, and all that stuff at the bike, and if it isn't better for Chase when he returns, then it definitely won't be for a lack of effort. Despite the constant struggles from the boys in green lately, I know they're a super hardworking group of individuals, and sometimes you work your ass off and it just doesn't come together for you. All racers pretty much know this. But on the other hand, my worry about all this time off is that Chase wasn't really all that happy with his bike at the races before the injury, so I wouldn't think that not racing is necessarily going to help him when he shows back up. All the testing they've done with Chase and even Chiz is certainly not for nothing, but when you show up to the race, it's a whole nother story. It's nothing like the practice track, but at the end of the day, I'm really hoping that Chase is in a better spot when he returns and not still living up to his name by chasing. The racing will be better when Chase Sexton's firing on all cylinders because he will be a factor for the win without a choice. Next up, let's talk a little bit about the 250 East Coast Championship, which appears to be down to a 3-horse race between Cole Davies, Seth Hammaker, and Joe Shimoda, and I would bet the house that I rent that this one's going to be good down to the final laps of the finale. The talent and speed category appear to pretty much be dominated by Cole Davies at this point, but I also, now that I'm saying that, I am remembering that Seth Hammaker has actually topped Cole Davies in several of the qualifying sessions this year, even at some of the races that Cole has won. But in my opinion, Cole has the most talent and technical skill of the three. He's got 2 wins now, with one coming after a massive gift in Birmingham when Deegan looked at the split lane the wrong way. And right now, Davies has the points lead as well, so the momentum is definitely looking to be in his favor. However, he's still young. He's never really been in a title fight down to the end, even though he had some slight hopes against Deegan last year. And although the dude is crazy confident, almost too confident with a side of cocky, but I think that could even backfire if he starts to get too ahead of himself in this title fight. But so far, the mistakes haven't really come besides that first turn crash at the opener, and he's on fire right now. Then there's Seth Hammaker, and respectfully, I think he has the least talent of the three, but for sure the best work ethic, and also he's pretty much the best dude in the pits that everybody should be cheering for. I value good humans over anything to do with a dirt bike, and Seth is one of the best ones I know. It would be an unreal story, not only for him, but also for the Pro Circuit Kawasaki squad that has appeared to be under a curse for like 3 to 5 business decades now. Okay, maybe not that long, but Seth came from the bottom, and I mean the bottom, like bikes that wouldn't stay together in amateurs, barely or not even making it to Loretta's, to finally getting just a sliver of help and turning it into what he's become today. It's a true Cinderella story. Sometimes it's a Cinderella story because Seth can get loose from time to time, but he got robbed by 2 Jews at the finale last year, but through that, he did get some invaluable championship experience, along with the third contender and super motocross champ from last year, Joe Sushi Wasabi Shimoda. And if not for some god-awful racecraft where it looked like he wouldn't have been able to pass his way out of a wet paper bag, then he would have ended up being the winner at Birmingham and the points leader after the Deegan penalty. Huge missed opportunity and pissing in the wind points-wise with that, as well as the whole red light deal in Arlington. That's 12 points that he doesn't have that he arguably should have, and that's going to be huge at the end of the championship. But just the fact that he's even racing at all after the broken neck is pretty insane in itself, and it's just as insane that he showed up to the opener immediately ready to win. You'd have to assume that he's only going to get better as this thing goes, but he's running out of time to gain momentum and wins if he doesn't do it ASAP as possible. But damn it, this thing's going to be good. We did lose one contender that we're going to have to talk about in the next segment, but right now, I can't even pick between Davies, Hammaker, and Shimoda for the championship. I wouldn't bet the rental on any of them right now. The E-Series is always a banger. Change my mind. This next topic, I hate to talk about it, but it's an unfortunate, brutal part of the sport, but the injury list is growing, and now it's even claimed a 250 East title contender in Pierce Brown. Pierce was having a really rough night anyway, and it wouldn't help his title bid at all, but still, he would have at least been in the fight, but he ended up going down while he was in mid-pack fighting for his life like he was in downtown Minneapolis, and he suffered a broken collarbone and a dislocated wrist, which sounds like a painful national, but that looks like it's going to be it for him. He's going to have to miss some time, and the title chances are gone. He's cooked. But luckily for him, he showed a ton while he was here, and that's pretty much all these teams want to see. They just want to cling to some hope that he eventually can do it, and I think Pierce can. We can work with speed, and we'll get there when it's time. And then another unfortunate loss. We lost Cullen Park, a dislocated shoulder in the Birmingham main event. And I saw somewhere where he said that even after it was put back into place, it still didn't feel right. And unfortunately, I've been there myself, and that is not a good sign. But it wasn't just a dislocation. There was some damage done, and Cullen's going to have to get surgery, and now he's out for 250 East as well, and that sucks balls because he was having a career year with the qualifying times on the board, top 10s, and flashes of brilliance that we've yet to see out of him until this year. Get well soon, CP. You'll be back. And then this one's another huge bummer, although I could kind of say that about all these guys because it's never a good thing when any rider gets hurt, not even your least favorite rider. You never want to see that, but then we got Jalek Swoll. Reports are that he re-aggravated his Achilles injury in qualifying at the East-West Showdown in Birmingham, and man, it's just such a bummer to see because the dude has already clawed his way back from one Achilles injury. It's a gnarly one. It's a long recovery process, and he made his way back. I believe he re-aggravated it during the offseason, and now he injured it again, and that's just not a good place to be hurt, especially where it's a reoccurring injury, and he keeps having trouble with it. So his Instagram post was a tough one to read. It talked about how he didn't know what his future held with his health and in the sport and all that, but hopefully Jalek will be back at some point. He's won a national. He's got tons of potential, and he's a great rider, but man, the injury bug is hard to shake. And then last but not least, luckily this is a good report, but we all saw Aaron Plessinger hobble off the track while holding his boot in the 450 main event at Birmingham. We didn't get an update for a while, not even in the Xbox group chat, but turns out he was just super banged up and it's going to buff out. But what a crappy year for AP. He's had so many of these incidents where it seems like he's been lucky to get out unscathed, but very unlucky to have these incidents and keep having crashes. And after several great years for AP, this has been a really rough one, but he's obviously got what it takes. He's just coming off some serious health issues that maybe even could have been career-threatening, but yeah, he's been through a lot, and I think we're going to eventually get the real AP back. It's just not going to be an overnight process. And then the last topic for the week before we get into the track preview and the track breakdown is Eli Tomac versus Hunter Lawrence for the 450 title. It's official. They've completely broken away from the rest of the field in points, and barring disaster, it's definitely coming down to these two. Who's your pick? My heart wants Eli. It would be an unreal story, and I've been thinking it was going to be Eli for a long time now, but with every passing round as of late, I'm really leaning more and more towards Hunter. He just doesn't seem to have a weakness right now. Great starts, consistency, unreal speed, and just a full package, while Eli has for sure been one of the best versions of himself that we've ever seen, but on the nights where he's just been barely off, Hunter's been very on, and he's taken advantage of it with some wins. Eli does have experience in his corner in terms of 450 title chases, but Hunter has won championships before, and I think he's going to be mildly unaffected by championship pressure compared to others, even those that have done it before. And as this thing gets down to the nitty-gritty, we got to think about anything and everything. Could we see some team tactics come into play? Right now, Tomac's the only one who's got any backup, and although half of his backup stayed ahead of him for a while in Birmingham, he does have Prado and AP, and Jorge's an insane starter and a defensive rider, so that could really help out Tomac if, and I mean if, Hunter doesn't just keep getting out front and pulling away. And while he's been taking everybody to Gapplebee's and hasn't needed them, Hunter could hypothetically have Jet back by the end of Supercross, or at least that's what I've been thinking, but it doesn't appear that Jet's even started riding yet, so for him to prepare well enough and quickly enough to actually be a factor in this thing would be a little bit far-fetched. especially since he'd probably start back outdoors and he's got an outdoor title to defend as well. But with all that being said, if Hunter keeps on doing what he's doing these last several weeks, then he won't even have to worry about needing Jet. He's taking control of this thing. Just like 250 East though, I think this one's going to be epic all the way down to the final laps of the finale at Salt Lake City, or God, I hope so. And now let's get into our track preview and our track breakdown for this weekend's race in Detroit, and I am loving this track at first glance. We got tons of rhythm sections, plenty of 180 bull corners, a set of whoops, some sweepers, some offset jumps just to keep it unique, and all kinds of stuff in the middle, so I think this is looking like one of the best tracks of the year, definitely one of the most technical tracks of the year, if not the most technical, especially with 5 different rhythm sections, but once again, like we always do, we got the start right down the middle, but a little bit of a short one this week. Not a full stadium length start, so we'll see if we get a little bit of bunching, maybe some carnage heading into turn 1, but the first corner, a right-hander, so it's going to be a little tricky to get to that rear brake and get the leg out for the first corner, but then you're right into the first rhythm section, a little option on the way in, and then a set of offset jumps. From the inside, you could hit that option single and go double, and then triple, double into the corner, or you could go around the outside, skip the option single, and then maybe go triple, triple, or maybe double, triple, single. It's all going to depend on how those things are built. I say it every week, but that puts you into the first 180 bull corner. This one's to the right, and then we got another short rhythm section. 2 options I'm seeing. You could either go double and then step on, step off, or triple in and then table over single. Kind of going to depend on how steep that tabletop is, because if it's too steep, you go way too high for it to be fast. So double, step on, step off might be the fast line just to stay low and on the ground, but that puts you into another bull corner, this time to the left, and then you're backwards down the start straight. Get through the gears and right on the binders, because then you got a flat sweeper into the longest rhythm section on the track. A couple of options through this one. I think you could either double in and then triple, triple again, and triple one more time, or you could swing a little bit wider and triple into the rhythm over the 5-footer, and then triple again, triple one more time, and then double out. And what you do in that rhythm section is going to set you up for this next section, because right out of this long rhythm, you're straight into a 90-degree corner to the left. And then right out of this 90, you got one of these shelf step-ups that could either be a step-on, step-off, or you could step over it. So I think the lines would be step on, step off, and then triple, or maybe step over the shelf and then triple single. But if you step over the shelf, then you're taking off of a 5-footer, and that would be airtime Guy Cooper mode. So that's not really what you want. I expect everybody to stay inside through that 90 and then go step on, step off, triple. But then you're into a bolt corner to the left, a basic rhythm section. It's either going to be a 3-2 or a 2-3. One more bolt corner to the right, then we got a Supercross triple on the map, but every week they've been nerfing them and just make them into doubles, so I'm kind of expecting to see that be a double. But then you got one more 90, final corner into the finish line, basic yacht. But then you land the finish line double, and then you got another Supercross triple on the map. I'm kind of starting to think that they got to leave one of these things as a triple, or they're going to have 3 big doubles on this track, or maybe they'll even take one of those out and put some other obstacles in that separate a little better. I don't know though. There's already a lot of separators on this track. It's pretty badass, but after the finish line of the Supercross triple, your final bull corner on the track, a left-handed 180, and then you're into your whoop section. Skim them, jump them, swap, ass over tea kettle, go to Indonesia. You pick. We'll probably see a little bit of everything, but out of the whoops, sweep back into the first corner and back into that offset rhythm, and that's a lap around round 10 for this weekend in Detroit. Awesome track layout. Love to see it. Got to give credit where it's due, because I haven't thought that the last couple of tracks have been that great, but this one's awesome. Bravo. Well done to all involved. Now let's check out what it looks like virtually from our POV lap from MX Simulator. From yours truly, NBA Loose Unit. And then last but not least, my predictions for what I think is going down this weekend in Detroit. Going to keep it quick with my top 3 in each class. In the 250 class, I feel like this 250E series with the contenders is kind of like going to be a musical chairs national. I feel like they're going to be pretty interchangeable. So this time, I'm picking Shimoda to get the win. He hasn't got one yet, and I feel like he's due for one. Hopefully, he doesn't have to use too much racecraft, or that could be a problem, but I just feel like Shimoda's due to get one done. Then for second, I've got Hammaker. He's been really solid all season long, and I just feel like this championship's going to stay super tight, and for it to stay ultimately tight, then we need to have Shimoda, Hammaker, and then Davies in that order. So those are my picks. Maybe a little bit more of what I want to see more than what I'm going to see, but at the same time, I mean, those three, I feel like I could just throw some darts at the wall and make my guesses that way. They're all so close. They're all so good, and yeah, that's going to be my podium in some order, but I've got Shimoda, Hammaker, and then Davies. Then in the 450 class, I've got Hunter Lawrence continuing with the good momentum that he's had over the last several races. He's been hard-pressed to be stopped, and I think he gets another one done. Then I think Tomac bounces back with a second place. I definitely don't expect to see a ride like we saw in Birmingham where he was like 3 to 5 business days off Hunter. I think he's in the fight, but I think Hunter just barely gets it done. He's really on another level right now. And then in the 3 spot, I'm going to go with Cooper Webb. He was really, really good in Birmingham. Very underratedly good, actually. A lot better than he'd been throughout the rest of the beginning of the season, but it just didn't quite happen in the main event. So if he brings that speed and intensity to Detroit, then I definitely think he's going to find himself on the box. But those are my picks. That's all I got for you guys for this week's video. As always, please let me know what you thought of the video in the comments. If you liked it, if you disliked it, if you agree with my takes, if you disagree with my takes, if the video sucked, if I'm a cooked unit idiot, or any of that kind of stuff. If you want to throw out hate, pencil it into your contract. I don't really care. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys again for watching. Really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Free of choice.